Good morning. We are calling this meeting to order at 8:04. This is a meeting of the subcommittee on the city manager recruitment process. In the room are Councilmember Fears, Councilmember Perkins, myself, Procurement Director Rich Sessi, Suzanne Holland, City Clerk. Also in attendance in the gallery are Councilmember Wiley and Finance Director Melissa Cabrera. So this is really the opportunity for us to polish up the RFP. But before we do that, can I call for a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting?
Make the motion for approval unless there's any added corrections.
And a second by Councilmember Fears. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes 3-0. Our next item is really going to be turned over to Rich here to walk us through the modifications from our last meeting. Hopefully we will end this meeting with a polished RFP that we are in agreement on. So I turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Councilperson McCandless. Bear with me while I kick off and share my screen on the current draft. Okay, let me just bring it to the top here. Okay, the first area of changes. Well, first of all, going to the beginning schedule piece, this is where we can start talking about like days such as today that we'll issue the RFP. I believe we wanted to put in a pre-proposal conference for all interested parties to come ask questions, us answer questions as possible, etc. Deadline for questions date, proposals due date.
Do we want to talk about those dates
Yeah.
at this point?
Yeah, let's pause right there. I'll let you guys talk that through.
So you had proposed to schedule a release on the 5th.
Yeah, that was a consideration, yeah.
And then pre-proposal conference, you had set a date for that.
Yeah, so I can bear with me a second while I pull up my own personal calendar here real quick. So if we put it out on the 5th of September, that Friday, well, first of all, my thought would be to have this out on the street for 3 weeks with a pre-proposal conference at the midpoint of the whole time that the solicitation is out on the street. So you're looking at 15 calendar days right there. So my thought is to put that pre-proposal date on the 7th business day that would be out on the street. So my tentative thought would be to have the pre-proposal date be
22nd.
well, the pre-proposal date itself. So if we release it on the 5th, that 7th business day would be the 16th of September. That's a Tuesday. I don't know what you all's work and business life is like.
Monday the 16th?
Tuesdays are good for you. That was when we discussed it. Tuesdays seemed like if that worked for your schedule.
Correct.
Okay.
Are we
Works
shooting
for
for
my
Are
schedule.
we shooting for the 16th?
That was a rough date.
So we'll be out of town
Oh,
For the
right,
M-
MML.
for the MML.
Well, let
But
me
we
ask
can-
a question. Is there a benefit to issuing them on a Friday? Because,
I mean, it's there's nothing magical about it. It could be on any day.
well, my thought being is that if we get a nod from the council on Tuesday night that everything looks good,
We
why don't
release
we
it the
issue it
next
on the
day.
3rd?
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, I'm just thinking out loud,
Yeah.
So if we do that, your pre-proposal conference would be on the 12th, which is the Friday,
Yeah.
Right, and that,
and you're still in town.
we're in town, yeah, so.
Okay. All right. Let me
That
go ahead and
works.
put that in while we're talking about it.
If we can always delay it if we need to, We may want to leave it.
So the 23rd would be the close date, is that 15 working days?
24th. And then the next date is a deadline for questions. You don't want to have somebody asking questions at the last minute that we don't have time to address or answer. So
Right.
I would like to consider having a deadline for questions possibly a week before it closes, so September 17th.
So let's go back a date. We had talked about, should there be questions or delay at the council level, that we would then meet again on the 4th. If we think it's going to pass on Tuesday, then we wouldn't need that meeting. So,
Right.
okay. So should we leave that as a tentative hold on people's calendars in case we run into a hiccup?
I think so.
Okay.
And then we could still have, I mean, it'd be quicker, but we could still have that, meeting on the 12th. You know, it's not 7 days out, it's 5 days out, but, you know, if we end up not issuing until the 4th or the 5th.
So we're going to the 4th now as far as the issue date?
No,
Is
no,
that
the
third?
4th was
Third?
just a
Okay.
hold date in
Okay.
case we had
Gotcha.
problems to solve.
I got you. Okay.
I don't imagine we will.
Okay.
All
All right, so we'll go with the deadline for questions still now of the 17th. And then a proposal's due date of the 24th at the end of the day.
So what are we doing on the 17th?
That is a day for a deadline for questions.
We don't have any
Yeah, we don't
responsibilities there.
do anything, but that's just for the community that would propose.
And we will at that point post the responses to any questions we've gotten, so the respondents all get the same information, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we can answer them at any time, but that's just a cutoff for questions, just to give us time to address anything. All right, moving down from there, we have our introduction and eligibility section. There was, feedback given as far as, where do you have a capital C for city versus a small c? So I took that and I merged those grammatical, things into the document. Now, the next area that I have highlighted.
Okay,
Which
hold
is-
on, we got one question
Yeah,
here,
sure.
which is still, Jared, you had mentioned you
Oh.
wanted to split out general fund versus enterprise funds. Do you want to do that? Because there was, and then John was like, you don't have to put all the details in there, so if you two could,
You talking
Give me
about?
guidance.
Which paragraph?
Second to the last.
sixth paragraph, it says, budget of 413 million and approximately 1,100 full-time employees. Do you want us to split out general?
No, I think it's okay.
Okay, all right.
We took out that duplicate paragraph, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And then also while we were talking about it, there was another point of feedback about the budget. So I got a comment about maybe reconsidering putting in our budget figure in that introduction section.
I used the 25-26 number, it had last year's number in it,
Okay,
so I updated the year and the number.
okay.
So bear with me a second here.
So, okay, the 25 budget number, got it.
So that'd be fiscal year,
25-26, so, or say fiscal year 26.
right, okay.
So we need to correct that.
Okay. What's overlapping this is what Melissa had pointed out as far as the budget numbers. So reduce that size real quick here. I know it can get a little bit confusing when you're putting document on top of document, but this is a working session here. So going into this paragraph, talking about Independence as a full-service municipality and budget. So you had pointed out about the fiscal year 26 numbers. So let me just go ahead and type that in there. Y'all are in agreement to actually put that in there? Okay, gotcha, all right. And then putting in that 1,193 full-time employees. Y'all good with that? Okay. Okay, inserted. All right, then the next area was going to scope of services, section 2. And that A, scope of services A had like, you know, do we want to put in there a time frame that we're looking to have the position filled, or do y'all just want to leave that open-ended? That's you guys' call.
I think we have to leave it open because there are so many open questions that honestly, we need the search firm's help in deciding
Gotcha. Okay.
timeframe.
We'll just
Do you
remove that.
agree on that?
I agree.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. We could have targets, you know, if, our ideal, you know,
Right.
but I'm not sure that really makes sense to
My
do that.
concern is it will, of course, everybody in the city will read this.
Right,
And then they'll be like, well, you said you wanted to have somebody
Right.
placed by February and you didn't do it. And so I just think,
Feels
This
too rushed
is-
when you start doing
it's
that.
unnecessary pressure, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I agree. And since this is such a complex timing, I just think we're gonna need the
Yeah,
smarts.
I think that's right.
Okay, we'll zap that out then. Okay, so now we've taken that out and we're going down to section 2, scope of services. And you can see the bullets that we have there. For my recall, I don't think off the top of my head I had any.
We pulled out that comment about title change, right?
Yes, thank you. I'm glad that you mentioned that, Council Person Pierce. Yeah, that was pulled out.
So I did have a question on, in scope services. It talks about providing human resource director biweekly or some other agreed to timeframe updates on the process. Is that the right person? Do we want them to, comment to that person and us, or, this committee, or what? I mean, I'm just wondering about that.
And you know, thank you. That was another comment. I'm glad that you're slowing me down here because that was another comment that was put in there as well as far as who that should be reported through. So right there on that section, I'm thinking probably would be good to also have you guys as the key people for them to report to. So let me,
I'm gonna say at the minimum,
At the
the
minimum,
chair,
yeah.
Bridget, for that bi-weekly quick check-in, that's all that is, outside of a
I mean,
normal.
it's easy to
meeting.
add, it's just gonna probably be an email, so,
So
you
just-
know, it just.
Yeah.
But as I looked through the rest of the scope of services, I thought it was really, you know, I think we're in a good place with that. I know we copied a lot of it from other sources, but I liked it, and I think it covers what we're trying to accomplish there.
Let me find it in this particular. Okay, so right here, this bullet right here. So the way that we're talking about wording it, you're recommending is provide the city council.
The committee on city manager recruitment.
Okay, provide the.
I guess it's subcommittee on city manager recruitment and human resource director.
Okay, provide the city manager recruitment subcommittee and human resources director with a bi-weekly or some other agreed to timeframe update on the process. Okay, good.
All right, then.
Okay. And then the other thing that was pointed out as an additional area to consider is B, where it says the city will perform the following services, the second bullet. And so I think we probably should, instead of having it say the city's human resources director, also add the city manager recruitment subcommittee, human resources director, and city attorney.
What section?
Okay, scope of services, B, the city will perform the following services.
That's C for me.
That's
Yeah.
Okay, well,
See,
initially we had A.
Yeah,
So
when you
then
took out
we-
A.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
So you
sorry
just
about
took
that.
that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
Okay,
moved,
now I'm with you.
Okay,
yeah, moved
thank you.
things up,
Now
sorry
we're
about
catching
that.
I just trying to catch up.
Yeah. So I think that should mirror what we had on that board
Okay.
beforehand.
That's fine.
Y'all in agreement?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, since we've volunteered Carissa for some role in this, we should make sure she's cool.
Up to speed.
I'm not sure if you were waiting for a response, Bridget, but I am good.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
It almost feels unfair to be in a committee and leave someone with responsibilities they don't get to weigh in on.
Right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so we made that update now. As far as the,
Can we just take a check and make sure this thing's recording? We don't want to get all the way to the end and find out it isn't.
You said it said it was recording, right?
I think so. And
I thought I saw
it said it was.
Okay.
yeah. You would click that button for it.
Okay,
Yeah, it says stop, so it is. Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, okay. All right. Going into the respondent resume section. I can't recall off the top of my head if we had any recommendations to add or subtract from that, but we'll pause right there so you guys can look at it and see if you want to, like I said,
I just had a question
What's the
on
track?
fourth from the last bullet point. Rank candidates order of recommendation to do we want it to this committee or to the whole city council? It's the city council right now.
Well, I think it would come to us first.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Good catch, thank you.
so how do we want to revise that, Councilperson Pierce?
I just say rank candidates order of recommendation to the subcommittee for.
Okay, to the subcommittee, okay, city manager subcommittee, that same verbiage. Okay.
Same language.
Okay.
I'm gonna interrupt and take us back to the following services, which is now section A, since B was previously section B. And this is just a philosophical question. When you read this, the search firm gets down to 6 to 10 respondents. They do the review, they do a cover sheet. there's no interview there. The only interview comes when they bring the final 3 candidates. I actually think we want a Zoom interview of those 6 to 10 candidates. Obviously, that will be done and closed, but I never want to make it to these are the only 3 we get to pick from, because there's so much you see when someone's talking that is different than what's on paper. So I just,
Do we wanna, say that we can have the option for that?
Yes.
You know, I mean, we don't, so that way, you know, cause you don't know what you're gonna get,
Exactly.
you know, and so if you get 6 good ones or 10 good ones, you know, you can do it then, but if you only get, you know, if you only think you got 3 good ones, then we could go straight to, I mean,
but if we only get 3 good ones, I don't feel like I want to send back to the
I'll
drawing
be
board
amazed.
and
you know,
bring me a better panel.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So we'll look at where that gets slid in here.
So there was the bullet that said develop a short list of 5 to 10 candidates. So I think what you're referring to would be somewhere in that neighborhood of bullets. Like on the top of page
Yeah.
4, second, first, second, third bullet. So I think somewhere in there.
Well, it says make recommendations for the selection committee's evaluation of the short list. And should we put in there, subcommittee has the option for screening interviews?
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
So just so I get the whole
Yes.
concept right. So the concept is the firm brings us 3 to 5, but before even that point, the thought is to maybe have you guys do.
Maybe
It's 5
that's-
to 10. Right.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
in the wrong,
because I
it's
was-
the bullet above.
Yeah, that's what I was
Excuse
Develop a
me.
short list of
Yeah.
5 to 10,
Okay,
and on that one, then,
Has the option for
We have the
screening
option.
interviews.
okay. I don't want to speak out of place, so this is what I'm typing in, but if I'm not capturing your thoughts, I'm your scribe on this.
All right.
So this is what right here, what I'm highlighting, that's what I just typed in. But like I said, I'm your scribe, so.
We can't read
can't
that.
read
You have to read it to us.
Okay, all right, let me read it to you. I typed in on that bullet that says develop a short list of 5 to 10 candidates, that verbiage. Then I added an additional sentence that said city management selection subcommittee has the option to screen the candidates at that point for further consideration.
I think it needs to say screening interviews, because we would of course be screening them on paper,
Mhm.
and that's a distinct, it takes more time on their part and more
to
coordination, so,
perform screening interviews.
yeah.
Okay. To perform screening interviews?
Yes,
Mhm.
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to assume that I'm capturing what you're thinking and then leave the rest of the verbiage.
Right.
Okay. I'll just leave it, take out from screening interviews. So it'll read, city management selection subcommittee has the option to perform screening interviews.
Of these candidates.
Okay.
Question on one of the other bullet points there, I'm glad you brought us back up there. Just the spacing there, on the one I have, the version I have, the one that says completed an assessment / applicant testing, the spacing is not consistent with the rest of the
Okay.
document. I don't know if it is on, you may have fixed that already, but on the version,
It's
on the
like
copy I
it's
have.
justified. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So it
it's,
spreads it out. to make
yes,
it
right.
even on
Right here.
Yeah, I see exactly what you're talking. Yeah, I started left aligning. But yeah, on this version right here that I'm using right now,
That's fixed. Gotcha. I just want to be
Yeah.
consistent.
yeah, because, you know, some of it was like, I don't know, center justified, and that's like, okay, let me just do left justification. All right, any other thoughts, suggestions in the scope of services, section A? Ready to move on to respondent resume?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we ask Carissa, do you have any thoughts?
Hi, sorry, I was muted. Thoughts on section 2?
Yeah, if there's anything you want to weigh in on, please chime in anytime you want to.
Sure, absolutely. I don't have anything additional. I think it's pretty, the verbiage looks pretty standard for a recruitment form on what we would expect for them to give to us.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and then we, only had two things that the city would provide for the following services, and that's provide all applicable information and documents for the successful for the successful respondent, and then make ourselves available to whoever is selected. Is there anything else that we need to consider doing for whoever's picked? I think that's pretty
I can
comprehensive.
think of.
Okay. All right. We'll go down to section 3, respondent resume now. And I don't recall getting any feedback off the top of my head on the respondent requirements, but let's have you guys look through there just to make sure that everything that you're looking for is everything that we're asking for.
You captured Councilmember Fear's modification from City Council to subcommittee.
On the fourth to the last. Yeah.
Rank candidates in order of recommendation to the city manager recruitment subcommittee. Yes, sir.
All good?
Okay, are we ready to go to the proposal submission requirements now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Didn't recall seeing any additions, edits, or subtractions from that, but just to, for the sake of people that are observing, and
I did ask that he add in under immigration compliance prohibition against discrimination in the state of Israel, that it's clearly that's not a city requirement, that's a state requirement.
right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that was going back to what Councilperson McCandless has said, that in bold, that next to the last one, we added in parentheses state of Missouri requirement, just so they knew this isn't just us trying to be uber political.
Right. Up under the qualification experience of each individual and or team, you've got in there we're gonna have them describe the contracts under which, and it says, within the last 5 years, come in a minimum of 3.
Okay, I
So
see
I'm
what you're
really
saying.
trying to understand what
We need to make that clear.
that was confusing to me.
Okay, so with that being said,
I read that if I'm a new firm, I have to have a minimum of 3 years of experience if I can't go back 5 years. That's the way I read it.
gotcha. So talking about it from that aspect, maybe wordsmithing that to say the performed or undertaken within the last 3 to 5 years would probably be a more, understandable range. Are you good with that?
Yeah, that'd be fine. I just wanted to understand what we were trying to get there. So.
Okay, sure. So I took out that parentheses minimum of 3, and then I just edited that to be were performed or undertaken within the last 3 to 5 years period, and then continuing on from there. Because people would ask, so. Ready to move on?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question? I'm sorry. Rich, under references, provide 3 to 5 government references. Does that say government or does that say GOVMN?
That says government.
Okay, it's hard to see just because of the spacing. I was just
Okay,
curious. Sorry.
gotcha.
Go ahead.
No, I appreciate you
It
asking.
does look like M.
Okay, let me just highlight over that, just to make sure that the font is consistent. Because if you don't have consistent font, then that'll make things look a little off, wonky, however you want to describe it. Huh, did it again, it still looks smooshed to a degree.
It's okay on mine.
Okay,
No, it looks real fine.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, my
On the
eyesight's not the
printed
greatest,
copy,
but.
yeah. All right, are we ready to talk about the contract, section 5? Okay. And so, for me, I put in the second sentence talking about if a respondent has any issues with our standard template, that they provide that on their response, or any list of exceptions to be negotiated, because you'd hate to get to the point where you like a company or a person and then all of a sudden they raise their hand and they go, oh, by the way, this is what I feel about your T's and
I like
C's.
that.
So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that gets noted up front. That way that won't slow down the process.
That's good.
And then I also listed the documents that should be submitted, which is the affidavit of non-collusion, the Missouri immigration affidavit, the Israel affidavit, and then also put in there that the whole package of what will be our contract would be the actual standard contract, which is later, the proposal, which the respondent will give, anything negotiated as far as pricing, and all the required documentation, which is the affidavit. That way we have a marriage of documents that's considered the actual contract. And then also that last paragraph in there, talk about whoever's picked needs to provide their certificate of insurance, making the city additionally insured. They have to get a business license because of course they'll be doing a lot of work in the city. All right.
And we, of course, facilitate how quickly that happens for them.
In front of the list.
Yeah, will help.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. You ready to move to the
Yes.
proposal submission format section? Okay. So just a list of things that, to make it easy for them and us, especially as far as what we're looking for. So a cover letter, as it says, table of contents, a summary, acknowledgement of addendums, because we probably will have an addendum addressing something that we didn't think about. So just a statement from the respondent saying, okay, we saw your addendum. the information, high level about the agency or individual. Excuse me. If somebody is a, subsidiary of a bigger organization, the information about the parent company, its affiliates, high level stuff about experience in the executive search space, how long they were established, and the team that would be helping us, like the people's titles, their responsibilities. And, I think it's also important to find out, okay, if, who's going to be putting the large majority of the time on the project.
Principal.
So I thought that was important as well. And then the resume of each team member. And then I think this was something that Councilperson Perkins, we talked about the last time we talked about, I think we might have talked about it as well, just some kind of example of a package of what was put out to the universe on a previous hire. And then, of course, the pricing. And then we also had high level, keep it at 30 pages, 11 size font.
So we limit the number of packages that, we don't want to get 6 copies of Singapore's that they've done. Do we just want one or?
Well, this is
They're
coming to us electronic.
Okay.
Yeah. So when it comes in electronic, I'll forward it to everybody if you'll have it like that. And then, as it says, charts, graphs, tables, affidavits, that's not part of the 30 pages.
Right.
Yeah. I'll pause right there. Anything we need to add or subtract or edit to what we're looking for to come back? All right, evaluation criteria. Something off the line. Okay. As we were talking about the last meeting, the things that, this is borrowing from Columbia, I think, especially their breakdown on their points. So you had qualifications and experiences 25, past performance references 10, evaluation project team 10, organization content completeness of proposal 15, methodology 15, time required to do the project 15, and cost is 10 with the first round total of 100. Do y'all want to mix up the points?
And I thought they did.
Yeah, I thought they looked good.
Okay.
Yeah. I appreciated your second round
Right.
ranking as well.
Right. I agree.
Right. So, we're gonna have interviews, and so thank you, ChatGPT, for ideas. And so,
And there's 2 funny little gizmos sitting out here.
oh yeah,
Okay.
on this version. Oh, and if you look at the screen, I put some tables and boxes around that. So now, like those little aliens on the side aren't showing.
Okay.
So, my thought when we get to that point of doing a finalist round, that we have these extra points to consider. So presentation and communication skills is going to obviously be uber important, 10 points there. Understanding the community and organizational needs 10, recruitment strategy and the candidate sourcing 10, and then 20 points for their evaluation of who they're going to bring to us and their screening approach is 20. Because, I think that's what you guys are looking for, them to bring the best candidate. So that adds 50 points for round 2. So a total maximum of 150. Do y'all have anything you want to look at as far as in that second round, or change the mix of points? Discussion?
Jared is our grid master, so
I only, I didn't have any, real thoughts in that regard. I thought that not knowing what you're gonna get makes it a little challenging to kind of, lay that out. But I think that's certainly in the ballpark. I mean, I don't have any, nothing really, no big red flags in my mind anyway, so. I do like the second round and adding that piece to it, because that's, when it comes right down to it, that's where we get to really kind of make the fine tuning, so.
And standard verbiage that we put on our solicitations, we tell people it's their responsibility to provide everything that we're asking for, the requirements, and that we're under no obligation to, try to bring people along. You can't try to mind read if people don't supply everything that we're looking for on the response. Okay, now we're looking at the evaluation process. There was nothing that was changed on that, but I'll pause to see if you guys have any suggestions or any thoughts.
I didn't have anything.
Good.
Okay. Now we have section 9, which is our terms, conditions. There was nothing that I got feedback on that, but I did.
We assumed this was your standard
Yeah,
city
this is our
language,
standard
so we weren't gonna weigh in on that.
So the only question I had there is the font smaller.
Yeah.
On mine, the copy I have.
Yeah,
And I think we gotta make it consistent.
Right, and I made everything in Calibri 11. So if you look at what's right here on the screen,
Gotcha,
this is draft 3. What you have is draft 1.
right,
So
okay, good.
and as I said, draft 3 is a combination of the original draft, a lot of things that Suzanne had pointed out that was, to remove inconsistencies in formatting, and that's why we have this draft right here. It's a combo.
Looked to me like there's an extra space after L. I don't know if that was fixed or not.
Okay. On this version, if you look
That
up there.
version looks good.
Yeah.
Mine here looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assumed all this was standard
Right.
city language. for
Right.
that,
And then
so.
we have our insurance requirements
Right,
for professional services providers. Standard. And then we have our affidavit. Says there's no polluting that'll be going on. That's our standard. And then the pricing form, I'll pause it right there, because as we were talking about, I wanted to put in, this table so that we hopefully get a price that, I hate to say it, that will stick. So like, total firm fixed price, and then all the other things that, somebody can a la carte us on if it's an outside firm, or should I say somebody that's not local, your travel, your meals, your car rentals, your hotels, all that other stuff. And
So do we, the other set of expenses with this is the cost of bringing candidates in. Is that a separate schedule, or this is just the cost of the firm?
well, I left it open at that because if they, I don't know, kind of like all the little piece parts that a recruiting firm would
Sure,
Okay,
put to a client, so that's why I have all those
okay,
others.
got it.
we can negotiate that.
Yeah,
right, and
Yeah.
the one that, depending on where candidates come from, it's gonna depend on how much it costs to
Sure,
get them here,
sure.
so, that sort of stuff.
right. So I got a lot of other rows
That's all good. I like it.
with a total. And then there's our contract for services, our boilerplate, I'll put in there.
Can I ask on page 19, Article 11, says all sales and deliveries are FOB city. I don't know what that means.
Okay, excuse me, that's more for like actual transporting
Yeah,
products. So that's kind of like a square peg round hole. So really, I guess talking about it like that, we could take that out because, you know, we're not talking about, you know, people delivering products. We're talking about people, you know, a firm delivering us people as opposed to products. So I can take that out.
Yeah, I wondered about that as well.
So now delay in performance becomes Article 11. And I'll just make the changes on the articles as we're using this term right now.
I do actually have a question in here about confidentiality. It feels like that's such a very important piece that we should call it out, and maybe it was here and I just didn't see it. It just mostly talks about ownership of documents and intellectual property. So, and perhaps that's in our discussion with them later, but it feels like if we're signing the contract with them, we have a responsibility for confidentiality as well of the candidate pool. So I don't know if that's a standard part of this or not. Maybe Carissa can weigh in on that. I feel strongly that we owe them that agreement.
Certainly, that's an important piece of the puzzle going both ways.
Correct.
And so, because, you know, if somebody isn't selected and, you know, I mean, that information doesn't need to be getting to their current employer or whatever, and
Right.
so.
So do we need to sign agreements then?
Well, I personally think you should have to sign a confidentiality agreement when, and that will be a question we ask of the search firms.
Well, you know, that brings up the point, kind of like with what happened here, you know, our outgoing city manager had his schedule posted, which in turn, you know,
Right.
worst kept secret in independence. How do we address that?
Well, I think that that's certainly a legitimate question for the search firms, which is how are we honorable in our behavior? What do you expect of us? What do we expect of you?
Yeah, so I guess that kind of goes back to, I think we need to go way up
Yeah, that's what I
further
was
in the
thinking as well. Not
solicitation.
under scope of services, but
And
under,
perhaps this is something we discuss with them as an addendum to the contract, and they may have standard language that they propose in the contract. I just raise it as an obligation that we have.
Yeah,
I'm okay with working with them on what is the most appropriate avenue.
right, we'll probably
or
just
maybe,
comment in here somewhere. I'm trying to think of where the best place would be.
How about under city obligations?
That's what I was, but it's kind of a it's both parties need to,
Yeah.
because really I see it as a scope of service responsibility.
Okay. So, I mean, I think maybe we ask them if they have a standard language that they propose as an addendum to our contract, because that's where I feel like it belongs. I don't want to torpedo our work here to wordsmith that, but I
Yeah.
feel strongly.
Do we want to take that to legal
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Okay.
okay asking that. Is that something you'd like me to do or you're gonna do? Just
I can
clarity,
ask
thank
legal.
you.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to articulate on this note here how to best ask it.
Where does,
I think what we're trying to get at, right, is essentially non-disclosure and non-compete agreements and whether those are appropriate. So, right, they won't be working on similar recruitments. They will also make sure that no information is disclosed that might jeopardize the recruitment or cause a conflict of interest during the recruitment. So I think non-compete and non-disclosure language is kind of what we're looking at, given the level of recruitment.
But I also want to take it one level further, which is we have a responsibility because they are bringing us confidential candidates as well. And I just want to be sure that we behave in an honorable fashion and respect that.
Yes, there should be a reciprocal non-compete, non-disclosure type thing, right? I'm sure as a recruitment firm, they're going to want to say, okay, well, we're the only firm that you're utilizing for this search as well. And yeah, you're not going to start telling people this is everybody we're looking at. So I think a reciprocal non-compete, non-disclosure or something of that nature would be appropriate. And I would expect that they probably have some sort of language like that. So we would just want to review it with our legal team and make sure that we're comfortable and it aligns with what we're thinking of for the recruitment process.
so I'm just thinking that under item 5, which is contract, you could add in there, in the list of things that they're going to sign, or, that a reciprocal confidentiality agreement or reciprocal, I'm not exactly sure the
Non-compete, non-disclosure.
non-disclosure, agreement.
What page?
I'm looking at,
6.
under item number 5, contract. And we're listing out there, respondents should match pricing agreement. Let's see. Respondents also provide certificate of insurance where we're asking other things, other documents. Let's see. You could say, you could just add a sentence after maybe, before the one on certificate of insurance that just says respondents will agree to sign a reciprocal non-disclosure / confidentiality agreement, or what was the other?
Non-compete.
Non-compete, something to that effect.
Agreement.
Maybe get Jeremy to help with that, just a little.
Because you'll have to create another folder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't want to weigh in on that form, but we can just make reference to it here, and then it can be developed later, obviously.
And I'm sure they have one.
Yeah, I would think they probably have something. Yeah, right. It goes both ways. We probably been down this road a lot of times, I would think.
Okay. And I'm making notes right here. So as I type this, please, like I said, I'm your scribe. How do you want me to word that? So you see right there, I'm typing in the successful respondent will provide a non-compete / non-disclosure form, which will, and like I said, I want to make sure I'm capturing both your thoughts completely.
I can't tell where you're
both
typing
parties.
that there.
Oh, sorry, let me move this out of the way.
I guess reciprocal.
Move this out of the way here. Okay, right. Okay, the paragraph at the bottom of the contract, that's where I'm starting at right now. So it says the successful respondent will provide a non-compete / non-disclosure form, which will, and that's where You see the
We
cursor?
could
right there?
probably say, right, cover the interests of both parties or reciprocal to both parties.
Okay.
And
Cover
Rich,
the
we may
interests.
still want to just get Jeremy's input, right, if
Sure.
there's anything very specific, but that would be the general that I would recommend that we put in there.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that's good. I like that.
all right. And then I'll just put a note, consult with Jeremy. Yes, I think as we're talking about, it's probably gonna require another form.
Yeah, I would think so too.
I apologize about this. We're right at 9. Do you guys mind if we take a 5-minute recess?
No, of course.
Okay, thank you. And then I will be right back.
Great.
All right.
You good with that?
Probably should be. Got a whole lot there.
We will resume our meeting. Thank you.
All right, sure. Okay, we made a note that we will get with legal about language in a form that will deal with non-competing and non-disclosure potential issues so that we help potential candidates, in that regard. You know, I'm thinking about it since we're talking process, okay. the public is gonna eventually wanna know who your candidates are. And if somebody is, already a city manager somewhere, I mean, that's gonna come out some form or fashion. I guess, is that where we kind of like leave it up to the firm to go, okay?
So the first screening, those are non-disclosed. Those are done during closed because for that very reason, people's employment doesn't need to be threatened.
Right.
And then we will rely on our search firm for, like, when you get down to the last 3 candidates, obviously who are coming to the city for an interview, that will be something that's public.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Okay,
they
we're
do this
focused
all the
on
time. Yes.
first level screenings. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. All right, cool. All righty. Proposal submission form, we talked about that, but then we, went back to the non-disclosure conversation. Let's see here. I think where we were at is talking about the contract sections. And I'm making adjustments on spacing right now as we're talking about it on the screen behind us. And then Jeremy had sent me some feedback, which I'll get to here shortly. And it was related to, it's almost towards the bottom.
We may have interrupted your adjusting the numbers on.
Oh, that's okay. The prohibition against,
Recruitment.
okay, so, hold on. Oh, it was related to the aspect of you can't basically take our candidate and use him for another recruitment. So he had a time bound window for that.
Right.
But he also wrote in there, you can't contact them. But if we have information about doing post-hire support, they're clearly gonna have to contact him. So that was my only concern about the language.
Rich, it's page 22.
Okay. Oh, right for the signature. Okay. Thank you.
Or
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Suzanne.
26 now, but it was 27 on that page.
Yeah. So I'll freeze it right there.
Such terms.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna unshare and find the verbiage from Jeremy.
And while we're waiting on that, kind of give a little bit of thought for you guys, like what day do you want us to sit down and review the proposals? Right now, they're gonna be due on the 24th. So, we had agreed that we needed 2 weeks to be able to review those because it's, I'm sure we'll get 10 more proposals. So do we want to set, so if they come in the 24th and Rich compiles them, we get them on the 25th. Do you want to set like the 9th or 10th as a time for us to do our in-person review?
I'm good either way.
Okay,
Morning.
okay. Jared, what works for you? 10th works better for me.
As long as I do the first thing on the 10th, because I'll need to leave town. I'm leaving town late.
Okay, so
And then,
first thing, like this is gonna take us 3 hours.
yeah. I mean, we're gonna have we'll have had a chance to review them ourselves
Oh, yeah,
first, right? So,
and rank them and,
you know,
We can do it 2.5, that would be better.
okay, we will make it.
my
two.
thought being, what if we, I'm not sure if this makes sense or not, I'm just thinking, what if we did a first round of discussion and then we think about it a little bit and then come back with
Okay,
you know, to,
Want to meet that Wednesday?
that's what
The
I was
8th?
wondering, yeah.
Wednesday the 8th, 8 in the morning,
No, I'm free in the afternoon.
Okay.
Put me 1 o'clock or later,
okay,
or early.
1 o'clock I can do.
Okay.
So proposal discussion number 1.
And we finalize it
1
Friday
o'clock,
morning or something.
and then on the 10th, okay. You got all that, Suzanne?
What time on the 10th?
So the 10th, 8 o'clock?
And those would be closed sessions, correct?
Yep, it would be open because we're reviewing the proposal for the search firms.
Right, okay,
There's no candidate information in any of those.
right, okay, all right.
And then while we're setting calendars, would we want our like in-person or on Zoom interview of the search firms? What day do we want that? 15th, 16th? I mean, they need a little time to prepare.
Sure.
So the 17th, that gives them a week to prepare. I imagine we will have 3 firms, each of them get an hour. You need 15 minutes of decompression between them.
You want to do the 20th, would work better for me, be
Yeah.
Monday. Because that's going to be a 3 to 4 hour deal, for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm. Okay,
So we're meeting on, to finalize our list on what day again?
so
To finalize it is 10, 8 a.m.
The 10th?
How much time do you want that day?
let's just set 2 hours for each meeting. I hope it won't take that long, but that,
So we're talking about the finalist on the 10th and we'd go to the 20th before. So let me just throw something out. I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm trying to cut the process down a little bit here. What if we did our initial review, if they're coming in on the 24th?
Yeah.
What if we did our initial review on the 6th, our final one on the 8th, and had them did the interviews on the 13th?
that does not give them much time for preparation, right? So if you get notified on the 8th that you've been selected, then they have 3 days to put together a proposal. Especially
Right.
because we're asking them, what do you know about independence? What do you know about, our needs as a city? So I think if you want a good,
Wouldn't they have already done a lot of that work when they did the RFP, when they responded to the RFP?
Sure, but they've got to fine tune now
well,
their presentation.
let's at least give them one more day. Let's do it on the 14th, because Tuesdays work for you.
That's good.
Does that work? Okay.
So we're looking for,
I was trying to speed up the, if we cut,
Right. But what I'd like to do is be sure that in our dates, let's see. We're in October, right? October 14th?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure I'm the right one. Can we put that in our pre-proposal description so they know to hold that day for us?
okay.
I always think the more
Mhm.
warning you give people, the better.
Yeah, and we could say tentative date for,
Presentations,
presentations would be October 14th.
what time?
Morning, before.
So we're going up here in the schedule section. So I'll just put in tentative finalist presentations.
So for that one, Suzanne, we need to be sure the whole council is invited to that. That works for Jenny, right? Tuesday's a good day for Jenny,
Yes.
Okay.
We're talking about the 14th?
Right.
14th of October.
Yeah.
And what time did you decide?
I have blocked on my calendar 8 to noon.
I agree.
I think that's what we need.
And I'm just putting it just generally as a day.
Okay.
So as you can see up there, that's where I'm
Right.
putting that up.
Perfect.
I like
Thank you.
that, yeah.
I
like that.
appreciate giving them a heads up.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So just for full disclosure, I'm going to be out of town the 23rd through the 1st. 23rd of September through the 1st of October. However, I will be reading on my vacation so that I'm ready for the conversations.
So my goal is to be out October 29th through probably November 2nd.
Okay. So if we have our presentations on the 14th, we would make our recommendation for them after our presentation, unless we have additional questions. Like, my goal would be that we come to a conclusion on that day after we interview them. This is where I'm not sure with Jeremy. I don't think that requires a full vote. It just needed input of the council.
Correct.
And we can't take a vote in this setting anyway, unless we
only
notice
reason-
it as a full meeting, but we can just notice it as a full meeting.
Yeah, the only reason we would need a vote would be, if it's over 100,000.
Right.
And so from that, the next step for us is to negotiate the contract, which I would imagine we would be getting the next day. So we would need a meeting of us to be sure that we had time to talk about that. Now, your schedule is the hardest part.
Wednesday, on the Wednesday afternoon, 1
Okay.
o'clock or later would.
1 o'clock, okay. So, it's 10:15.
How long can that last?
Hour and a half max. And you'll be ready to help us negotiate a contract at that point?
Well, whatever contract they supply, legal's gonna have to,
Okay,
Have
so
their
these are the
input.
questions we don't know. So
Right.
they supply their contract and then legal and you fight about their contract.
really legal does. Yeah, I
And
mean, I'm
then-
the facilitator, but
Right.
yeah, that's what the attorney's for.
But when is the point where we negotiate the contract with them? Like, this is what a deliverable looks like, et cetera,
Okay,
and then legal.
they supply, all these companies will supply their response. They should supply their differences on the contract. You
In
guys,
this-
on the initial
When they
response,
respond.
on the initial response. So, you know, you go through the first round, you go through the second round, whoever you like as the company, at that point, then that goes to legal because you guys have picked out who you're one. So when you get to that point where you have your meeting or whatever day that is, at that point, then that goes to legal. And then that gets worked out.
So we're a little premature.
Yeah, so, but I still am asking, like, where is the tug of war? If they say, well, we don't usually do interviews for the candidates with the council in that pre-phase, and we say, yeah, but that's one of the things we need. So where's the give and take with,
I think that.
Probably in the presentation.
Yeah, in the presentation, because then that's when they talk about, this is how we do business, and you guys tell them, we don't want to do business like that.
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
So there's no follow-up conversation after we say, okay, we picked you. Can we come to a conclusion on some of these things?
At that point, when you pick the company, I mean, really when it comes down to it, the philosophical stuff, that should probably be happening during that presentation time period. As I see it.
I feel like there's one more conversation to be had with them.
Well, when they give us their best and final, for us to hash through for last time, that would be it, after we get to,
After legal reviews it?
yeah.
Okay,
let them do the
fair enough.
official-
Because, okay, you can pick a company and then, you got legal stuff to work through. And then at that point, if you still want to say, hey, we like you, that, we want to have you sharpen your pencil. Can you sharpen your pencil one more time? Then, then they do that. They can either keep their number or they can sharpen their pencil.
Okay, so we can hold that thought. I just am trying to be protective of people's times.
Sure.
Like, we need to march stuff out. Okay, how long does it normally take legal to get back to you on a contract?
Well, something like this, obviously, we'll say,
Okay,
you can't get much more important than this.
yeah, okay, fair enough. All right.
And their own.
Exactly.
I guess, I'm gonna push back just a little bit, I think if there are differences between the way that they work and the way that we want to work, then we need to have that conversation in that presentation process. And, and if they say, well, we won't do it that way, then we need to know that,
True.
So, because then we're not gonna select them, or potentially not,
So when is the conversation about timeline? Because like that drives so much of it.
Well, they're gonna lay that out in their RFP, and so we'll have a chance to ask questions about that.
All right. And to me, as I see it, okay, you got I'm just using hypotheticals. You have 3 companies that come in, you hear their presentations, you like one, you say, okay, we like you. I think at that point you can always go back and say, hey, this is the timeline that we're really looking for. We hear you say this is your normal timeline, but we really want to see if you can move your process up. That could be done after the presentation.
Yeah, we could go back and ask questions.
It's not uncommon to ask for clarifications or extras after the presentation time period.
Okay. And then during our pre-proposal conference, I think it'll be important that we outline some of the uniqueness of our timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, going back to the beginning of, you were talking about first meetings, second meetings. Okay, we have the first round, criteria. If you all collectively could supply your first round scoring before that meeting, then, I can do the reveal. So what I'm saying is that whatever date, there was all these dates put in
So
place.
you had suggestions. Do you remember what your dates were so that everybody is on the same page?
Yeah, let me get back here. So my suggestion was, so if things are coming in on the 24th,
Right.
then, we'll have had a chance to review those. The thought is that we do our initial meeting on the 6th, and then
And that was at 1 p.m. or that was in the
that
morning?
was in the morning.
Okay.
Well, I
October.
don't know that it matters what time. What did you have, Suzanne, on that?
I had 1 p.m., but that was also for the 8th. So if we do the 6th, we can just let me know what time so I can reserve the room.
The 6th,
8 a.m.
that's fine. And
to
then
10.
I'm
That
sorry,
was-
I didn't catch that.
8 to 10.
8 to 10, thank you.
So October 6th, 8 to 10.
Right, our preliminary one, and then the 8th would be our final, where we notify them. We reach an agreement ourselves on the 8th, and then
And that was the one at 1 p.m.
that's where we
For John.
yeah, right, and that's where we notify them after that they're a finalist and they need to be available on the 14th. For a,
Final.
is that an in-person or is that a Zoom?
we can do whatever you want. So the,
What would be,
Ideally, I mean,
that's just a paper exercise, right?
well, for
And then we
something of this
interview them.
nature, I think if we're putting it out there that we're looking for that as a finalist presentation, I would think that you guys would want to have it in person with a virtual component to
because
it.
we're having the whole council involved in that one, right?
Yeah, okay, I think let me just catch up. On the 6th, we're doing a preliminary paper review.
Right,
On the 8th, we're doing a final paper review,
right,
at which point we are picking our 3 folks. So
Right.
there's no Zoom involved in that.
correct.
Then on the 14th, those are the presentations of the finalist 3 with the council
Right.
for us to pick a firm. And so that will be, I don't know if that's normally done by Zoom or if that's done in person. That's the question for
And
us.
Rich is saying he thinks that'd be best
should-
done in person.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's best to do that in person with a virtual component.
I just wanted to be sure we were all having the same conversation.
Yeah.
All right, that works for me.
Backing it up a little bit, because, with the preliminary stuff, I just want to make sure that we're clear on when, you all do your scoring part. So, you were talking about on the 6th having a preliminary meeting and then picking your finalists on the 8th. So to me, I mean, I'm good with you guys. It's your selection, not mine. Get together on the 6th, you're having your discussions, and then like submitting your scoring on the 7th.
Okay.
And then on the 8th, we do a reveal, and then that shows who your finalists are.
Okay.
So I just wanted to, speak that out so that there's no surprises, like you don't say, oh, I didn't know that you wanted me to do that.
Right, no, that's good. I like that.
So anyway, just to submit it, the expectation, you guys are gonna meet on the 6th, have your conversation, submit your scoring to me on the 7th,
Right,
and then meet again on the 8th, and then there'll be a reveal of, the numbers as far as who's, what you guys think on the scoring. And then at that point, it shows who the candidates are for the presentation on the 14th.
I think that sounds good.
Just to be, everybody okay if I send just a summary of these dates to the rest of the council so they know how that flow through goes?
I can do that.
Yes, perfect, okay.
Please.
And really highlight the 14th so they know to hold that on their calendars.
Should we,
I'll send out an invite for that.
should we give all of these dates to the council, full body, so they understand
Yes.
these dates are clicking up on?
Yes,
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want this just sent in an email? Or
Yeah.
do you want it discussed at a meeting?
I think you send it in an email what we're doing, but then
Highlight.
put up on that 14th.
Yeah.
Send them a meeting invite
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that one.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, the rest of it, I think they just need to know what we're doing and how we're doing it, the timeline.
Do you want me to send a Teams meeting so that if anybody on the council cannot be here in person, they can join via Teams?
That's fine. Yeah.
all right. I think we got a ton done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to the prohibition against recruitment, I found it here. I didn't put it in this version, but on the screen, and I know it's kind of wonky, but underneath in red line is what Jeremy had stated as far as what he wanted verbiage-wise changed on that. So he wanted it to read, contractor agrees that successfully placed candidate cannot be recruited or contacted by contractor regarding
Regarding,
another position outside of the
perfect, that's
city
fine.
for a period of 5 years. So, that's what's underneath there.
Yeah, I like that language. Because it's only regarding,
Yeah.
that, so.
So posting of this RFP with ICMA, because they have a big recruitment board, that's the place almost everybody goes. Obviously, we'll do the courtesy to MML. And then there's a couple of other city management boards that are out there. I have the contact for one of those. And then Rich was gonna contact Columbia to find out what they pay for their firm, just so we have yeah. And Would you also ask them where they posted? So if
Yeah.
they have additional great
They
ideas,
may have an idea that we don't
Yeah.
have.
and then I'm doing the same with Lenexa.
And I did have information for you too. 27,000 is what we paid for the finance director
Okay,
and fire chief.
okay,
So that gives you a
thank you.
That helps, yeah,
Okay.
that helps.
And if you'll bear with me a second, I'm gonna unshare.
the firm only, yes.
And I did get some feedback from Kel with Columbia. Bear with me while I find it real quick.
I think we should probably also let Mark know. I don't know if they post these, but at least they should get a,
Won't hurt anything.
yeah, plus they know everybody in city government.
Right.
I'm getting ready to pull it up here. This is their actual agreement that they had, that I'm gonna share with you guys with the company. And they picked a company by the name of
They were out of California.
CPS HR Consulting, whoever that is.
But they also said they liked them so much, they've used them for multiple positions in their city, which I think says something.
Yeah.
This is Columbia?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the section of their agreement that shows what their cost was.
Okay.
Oh, no. It's Halloween. Hold on, one more time.
You got glasses on now, so it's more distinct.
Okay. All right, so it says fixed sum of 17,000, and then they've got those other figures in there as well.
Okay, so they did a recruitment video. Okay. All right.
All right, so what I'll do is I will send to everybody the version that doesn't have comments and yellow highlights and all that stuff
Thank you.
for one other viewing. And just
And send to the whole council.
yes, yeah.
And-
That way you guys point out anything I missed.
Can we get communications to take a look at your map?
Oh,
So
sure.
they,
So, as I was thinking about this, and also I talked last time about the organizational chart, my thought being on both of these,
attachments.
they'd be good attachments for what the search firm sends to the potential candidates. I don't know that the search firm needs it right now,
Okay.
is what I'm saying. And so,
Well, that'll probably need a little bit of refresh, for sure.
yeah,
So no
this
time
definitely needs some updating, yeah.
for the
So.
candidates to do
All
it.
right, so.
And I sent the organizational chart, the updated one,
I saw
to you
that.
and Rich.
Right, I just, I'm not sure.
So we'll hold those, not for this portion?
Right.
Okay. And Suzanne, can you take this document, do you have that electronically, John?
No,
Okay, so that we can get them to take a look at that? All right,
we scanned.
excellent. Okay. Well, great work. I'm very pleased with this final
Yeah.
product.
Yeah, it looks good.
So I think we're
Almost
in
there.
a spot where you'll do all of your little bit of numbering magic and make sure that things make sense.
Right.
And we'll send it to the council.
So we have it on the agenda, for
Monday, or Tuesday.
Tuesday night. I guess I'm just wondering, does it need to be on the agenda? I mean, do we need to vote on it as a council or,
You give us the nod after they've reviewed it for the week, and have any conversation, robustness that we can capture if there's any adjustments or changes there.
okay.
I
I'm
don't think we
fine
need to
with that.
vote
I
as
just,
opposed to nod.
yeah, I just kinda wanted to, I wasn't sure.
I mean, it's on the consent agenda. I would assume we would pull it for
Yeah.
discussion.
Right.
And then
Yeah, good point.
we'll, I mean, that was our struggle, was do you do it as a separate study session and then not? But Jeremy recommended that it be on the consent agenda instead.
Well, we can just pull it and talk about it and.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we, you know, I mean, we can say we have had so far 4 hours of discussion with multiple staff members to come up with this, and
And if they like, they can review.
If they want to.
Yeah.
Comment, they can comment.
and then we sent it out long in advance for the council to be able to have time for feedback. When that goes to the council, Rich, can you ask them to send questions or comments back to you that you can then share with the subcommittee?
Yeah, that's right.
That way they've had an opportunity to give feedback. If we need to make modifications, we'll have a little time to do that. All right, fantastic. We have a fake meeting hold on the 4th, which I hope we will not need.
Right.
So that would be sort of our next. The release will be on the 3rd if it passes. Pre-proposal conference on the 12th. 9/17, our question deadline. Due date on 9/24, close of business. Our review will begin on the 6th. Our scoring is due on the 7th. Our final review on the 8th with our recommendation for final 3. And then on the 14th, we will have a full meeting with in-person presentations available to the entire council with the goal of the final selection at the end of that. They will propose their contract, which will go to legal for review. Any discrepancies or issues that we need to negotiate will happen after that. At that point, we will begin our process. Okay.
Done.
Fair assessment? All right. Thank you, everybody.
Motion to adjourn.
Awesome. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 35.